Hello and welcome to day 11 of Vlogmas. It is Sunday, it is the 3rd of Advent, and I am back from my overnight trip to Turku, Åbo, which I did on Friday and Saturday. And if you're watching this in order, you'll probably already have seen my episode that I put together with footage from those days. But as I speak, I haven't done the editing yet. That's one of today's plans. But anyway, I went to Turku for a work day together with my work team, and we had a nice time. And then on Saturday, which was my sort of day off, but I stayed there just to have a little bit of me time. I did lots of fun stuff in Turku, and now I'm back home and I'm trying to get back into things and resuming Vlogmas. So yeah, just briefly about Turku. It is the oldest city in Finland. It was established in 1229, which is like ancient. So, and it's a city full of culture and history, and actually it's very nice. It's very nice there. It has the Aura river going through it, and on both sides of the river there are really nice walkways, and it has these really scenic views over the church, the cathedral, and yeah, it was good. And basically what I did on Saturday, my sort of free day, I went geocaching, and wherever the geocaching took me, I also stopped by some shops or the Christmas market and things like that, whenever I happened to come to that area. So I didn't have a plan as such to where I was going, but I went for the caches, and then I also did a little bit of shopping and window shopping on the way. I mostly did these sort of virtual caches this time, which are called Adventure Lab caches, which means that you don't actually look for a physical cache container, but instead you have to go to a place, and then there will be a question opening in your app that you have to answer, and that's kind of your log for that cache. And that's an easier way to do geocaching in broad daylight and when there's a lot of people around, because it will undoubtedly look a little suspicious if you start poking around in bushes and in corners of houses for containers when there are people around you. And these days you don't want to really be acting suspicious in that sense. So the virtual caches are really nice for that. So I did a lot of that, and there were a lot of virtual caches in the center of Turku, and it took me to a lot of interesting places actually. So yeah, that's that, geocaching once again. I also went to a couple of yarn shops, to the Ilo yarn shop, which is, I think, one of my favorite yarn shops in Finland actually. They have a really good selection, one that appeals to me personally. They have a good web shop. I've ordered from their web shop several times, and so on, and they are really nice. The two ladies who run it are also really nice and knowledgeable knitters, so it was nice to go there. I only did some sort of purpose shopping, things that I actually needed and that I already knew that I had order for. I needed to stock up on some of the mitten yarn for my Liverpool mittens for my boys because I ran out, and I and some other items. And the only sort of new new yarn that I bought is this very exciting ball of sock yarn. A 6-ply sock yarn, so that's a little bit thicker, and I'm thinking that maybe, just maybe, I might be able to squeeze out a pair of socks before Christmas for someone in the family. Maybe my husband, not sure, or one of the boys. Because, well, there's always a need for socks. And this year's Christmas present, or the Christmas present of the year, here in Finland or Sweden, or maybe in these countries, or I don't know how wide a region, but anyway, somebody probably the commercial market somehow chooses a Christmas present of the year, and this year's Christmas present is hand knitted, which I think is fantastic. So hand knitted is the thing this year. So, and I'm going all in for that, of course. So I wanted to make sure I don't run out of yarn, as if. And what else? Yeah, the Christmas market was that I saw, and that maybe you've seen in the footage. There were also a couple of yarn sellers, or maybe 3 or even 4 yarn sellers there, which was really nice. I thought that was awesome. Among them, one company or one lady that I hadn't heard about before, Undreamt, was that her name? And she dyes her yarn with natural dyes, like these plant-based or organic sort of powders and stuff. So, and they were lovely. I resisted the temptation to buy anything, but I will keep her name in mind, or her company in mind, because I really liked those yarns. Yeah. As today's project, I thought that I would talk about something that actually came up while I was in Turku, and while I was actually wearing my knitted garments, or my knitted outfit that I had with me. Because what I was wearing when I was walking around in the city, it was cold. There had been a bit of snow, and there was this generally really kind of damp and cold air. So you really needed to dress warmly if you were going to be outside. So what I was wearing was my shawl, which is called Autumn Vibes. Oh, so that. And then I was wearing my nutty gloves. And I did manage to stay warm and snuggly with these. However, a few things. First of all, if you're gonna be wearing these kinds of gloves and you're gonna be geocaching and getting your phone out all the time, I mean, how difficult is that? Or how annoying is it to have to do this every time? Go to your phone, put it back on. So that just gave me the insight that I really need to knit some fingerless gloves or mittens, or one of these where you can actually put the top on if you need to. It's not my favorite thing to knit mittens or gloves in general, but this was a definite need that I realized. So thinking that that's something I might need to do. But anyway, I just want to showcase my nutty gloves because aren't they lovely? I think this yarn is so beautiful and this pattern is so nice. The nutty gloves are from Knitty magazine, like way back. But it's a good pattern. I've made it several times. And the yarn is Freya yarn, hand-dyed. Yarn in the colorway Aztec, I think. But this one, now do you see the problem? I don't see myself, so I don't know if I see the problem, but I think I can probably feel it. This is, let me show you. This is the Autumn Vibes from the line 52 Weeks of Shawls book, and this is the pattern. And it's a lovely pattern. It's a lovely design. And this is a lovely, lovely yarn. But do you see what it does? It kind of sort of all bunches up and becomes this sort of roll. and you don't really see much of the pattern because it doesn't sort of stay. It doesn't wanna spread out and actually show itself. So, and I think the problem is, first of all, that it's just too, it's not wide enough. No, this bit here, it kind of pulls together, so it's not wide enough. And also this top edge here is a little tight, which somehow I think it doesn't allow the yarn to kind of drape or spread out or whatever. Yeah, not sure how to technically describe that, or not sure I even understand what's happening. But anyway, it doesn't behave the way I would like it to. I don't think it does the pattern, the design justice. It doesn't do the yarn justice. And the yarn, I think, is absolutely gorgeous. It's also Freya yarn, but it's a DK weight yarn, and it's so full and squishy and bouncy, and maybe that's also part of the problem, that this design isn't really doesn't really work that well in a yarn like this one. So, thinking about this and realizing when I was wearing it that this doesn't really behave the way I want it to, of course I had the brilliant idea, well, I could remake it into something else. And maybe, one of these faux collars that sits a bit more tightly around your neck, maybe folds over a bit like a polo neck, and that you put under your coat rather than having it sort of swirled around and trying to get these bibs to hang nicely, which they don't. So yeah, I got all inspired now, thinking that's what I might do. I might unravel it. I have more yarn. I have some left over, so I'm thinking that it surely will be enough for a collar or for a cowl, but that looks a bit like a collar. What do you think? I think that sounds like a really, really good idea. I get excited and inspired when I get to unravel and redo and rethink things that aren't working the way I want them to, and when I can actually solve it by something as simple as unraveling. It's much more difficult if you've sewed something and you want to change it. That's much more of a hassle and a much more difficult process. But knitting is wonderful in that sense, that you can always redo things. So yeah, I'm not going to ramble on anymore today or right now. We'll see what else I get up to today, and then I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now. I've only just come from the post office to pick up a package. It contains yarn. It's a surprise packet. Someone ordered it for me. It may have been me. But it will not be opened until Christmas Eve. So, some unboxing to be had. See you then.